Hey everyone! Welcome back to English Avenue today. I want to talk about something that I believe will change your English learning journey. Imagine for a moment if you could think directly in English. No translating, no hesitation, just fluent, natural thoughts in English. Sounds powerful, right? It's the secret to speaking confidently and effortlessly, and it's actually possible. So today we're going to start this journey together to make English your thinking language. And if you're new here, make sure you hit subscribe to join this amazing community because I'll be sharing even more tips like this. All right, let's get started. Imagine you wake up one morning with a goal. Today, I'm going to think in English. You brush your teeth, and instead of just moving through the routine, you decide to say everything you're doing in English. I'm brushing my teeth, you think. It feels simple, but it's a start. You're teaching your mind to describe your day in English, no matter how small the activity. Next, you move to breakfast. Instead of letting your thoughts drift, you focus on English. You look at the ingredients, and in your mind, you start naming them. Eggs, bread, coffee. Then, as you make your meal, you keep describing everything in English, even if it feels strange. I'm cracking an egg. I'm making toast. The coffee smells good. Every little action becomes an opportunity to practice. Throughout the day, you keep going with this practice. When you head out the door, you think, I'm putting on my shoes. I'm grabbing my keys. And it's like you're narrating your life to yourself in English. At first, it might feel like just words floating in your mind, but soon they start to connect to the things you're doing without needing any translation. You're getting used to English becoming the language of your thoughts. Let's say you're walking down the street. Instead of thinking, wow, it's hot today, in your native language, you start to think, it's really hot today. You see people around, and maybe you even describe them in your mind. There's a man with a blue shirt. He's drinking water. There's a dog running by. These little observations seem so basic, but they're incredibly powerful. You're teaching your brain to recognize English as the main language of your environment, talking to yourself. Yes, really, at first this might feel a bit strange, but try talking to yourself in English. Imagine that you're chatting with a friend, but that friend is yourself. Ask yourself questions like, what should I do today? And then answer in English, I should probably study English for an hour. Maybe I'll watch a movie in English. It's a way of tricking your brain into using English more naturally. This is what we call inner conversation. When you're ready, try going a little deeper. Let's say you're feeling a little nervous about a test. Instead of thinking, I'm scared about the test in your own language, try, I feel nervous about the test. You're adding emotions to your English thinking, and that's when it becomes really powerful. It's like English is becoming part of how you understand yourself and the world around you. Here's another secret. Make English part of the things you enjoy. Let's say you love cooking. The next time you're in the kitchen, challenge yourself to think of the ingredients and recipe steps in English. Maybe you think, I need a cup of flour, 2 eggs, a little salt. Or if you love music, try thinking, I really like this song. The lyrics are beautiful. By connecting English with something you already enjoy, it feels less like practice and more like a natural part of your life. Here's a fun idea. Give yourself tiny English thinking challenges each day. For example, maybe one day you decide, today, every time I open the fridge, I'll think in English. So every time you reach for something, you think, what do I want to eat? Maybe I'll make a sandwich. Or another day you decide, today I'll count in English every time I take the stairs. These little games are simple, but they train your brain to automatically turn to English in everyday situations. Another thing that can help a lot is creating a visual world for yourself in English. Imagine your daily surroundings as if you're in an English-speaking country. Let's say you're sitting in a park. Look around and describe what you see. There's a family having a picnic. The grass is green. The sky is blue with white clouds. Picture yourself as a storyteller narrating a scene. This habit brings English into your surroundings and helps you live in the language without actually being in an English-speaking country. It's natural to translate from your native language at first. Don't worry if that happens. Start small and be patient. Begin by choosing simple words and phrases that you want to switch to English. For example, if you usually think, "I'm hungry," in your own language, try it in English. Over time, move to more complex sentences, and soon you'll find that your brain will skip the translation step on its own. The most important thing is to be consistent and gentle with yourself. Thinking in English is like building a muscle. It takes time and regular practice. The more you train it, the stronger it gets. Every time you think in English, you're rewiring your brain a little more to make it the natural language of your thoughts. So even if it feels hard, keep going. You'll be surprised how quickly it becomes a habit. Imagine today you're trying something new. You create a character in your mind, like a friend who's with you all day and they only speak English. Let's give this friend a name, say, Emily. Imagine Emily is with you every moment, and to communicate with her, you can only use English. So each time you're about to think in your native language, remind yourself, Emily doesn't understand. You're creating this fun, playful space where every thought becomes a conversation with her. So if you're feeling happy, you tell Emily, "I feel so excited today." Or if you're trying to make a decision, you think, "Emily, what do you think I should do?" This helps because it feels like you're practicing with someone, and over time, your mind naturally begins to switch to English without needing Emily as much. Here's another trick. Each night, pretend you're writing a diary entry about your day in English. Even if you don't actually write it down, try replaying the day in your mind. Let's say you started your morning with a walk. In your mind, you think, "I woke up early and went for a walk. The air was fresh and I felt really energized." Then go through other parts of your day the same way, thinking about each experience in English. This technique has a double benefit. It helps you build English vocabulary naturally and also lets you practice storytelling. You're not just recalling facts, but describing your feelings, impressions, and everything that happened in your day. The more details you add, the richer your English thinking becomes. Now, if you love music or movies, this one is for you. Instead of just listening or watching, pick a few lines or scenes you love and use them to practice thinking in English. Let's say there's a line in a song that goes, "I feel alive tonight." Take that line, make it personal, and play with it in your head. So if you're excited, you could think, "I feel alive because today was amazing," or "I feel alive when I'm doing something I love." You can do the same with movies. Find a line that resonates and then think about ways to relate it to your own life. It could be something like, "Today was my favorite day," or "I'm ready for anything." Using these lines in your own thoughts helps you feel more connected to English, making it feel less like practice and more like a part of you. All right, here's a fun one. English triggers. Find everyday objects or places in your home, like the fridge, mirror, or even your phone, and assign each a trigger. So every time you open the fridge, you think, "What am I going to eat?" in English. Or each time you look in the mirror, you say something to yourself in English like, "Today is going to be a great day." These triggers help you build a habit, and soon you'll find yourself automatically thinking in English every time you see these objects. Try it with as many things as you like. Every little reminder helps your brain get used to English as the first response. Now this one is really fun. Try imagining yourself a year from now, speaking English confidently. Picture it like a daydream. Imagine you're sitting with a friend and you're telling them a story about something amazing that happened. It could be anything, a new job, a big trip, or even a simple story about a funny moment. Describe everything in English, as if you're telling that friend this story a year from now. For example, imagine saying, "Last year I had no idea I'd be speaking English so well. I practiced every day, and look where I am now." Visualizing your future like this makes it feel real, and it also keeps you motivated to keep going with your English journey. When we think about thinking in English, it's not just about translating words. It's also about learning to express your true feelings in English. Let's try a little experiment. Think of a simple feeling you had recently, like being happy, sad, or excited. Try to find the words in English to describe that moment as if you're feeling it right now. For example, "I felt so happy when I saw my friend after a long time." The more you practice describing your feelings in English, the more naturally English will become your thinking language. Try doing this each time you feel something deeply, like when you feel proud, thankful, or inspired. You're teaching your mind to connect emotions directly to English words, making it feel like a natural language for self-expression. Here's another advanced technique: building visual and verbal memories. Think about a memory you have, maybe of a recent trip or a fun day with friends. Instead of replaying it in your native language, try recreating the memory in English. Imagine describing everything as if you're seeing it again in your mind, but in English words. For example, let's say you remember a picnic you went to last month. Instead of thinking, "It was a nice day," you might think, "The sun was shining, we were all laughing, and the food tasted delicious." You're basically reprogramming your memory in English, helping your brain to naturally retrieve it in English the next time you think about it. Create imaginary scenarios for practice. Let's say you're at home, but imagine you're somewhere else, maybe at a coffee shop ordering a drink. In your mind, go through the entire interaction in English. You might think, "Hello, can I have a coffee, please?" Then imagine the barista asking, "Would you like sugar with that?" And you think, "No, thank you." Try this with different situations, like asking for directions, talking to a friend, or even calling customer service. The more scenarios you practice in your mind, the easier it becomes when you're in real situations because you've already trained your brain in English. All right, let's kick it up a notch. Today, imagine you're an English detective, someone who's always noticing and exploring English around them. Here's how it works. Every time you're out and about, look for clues in English like signs, billboards, or menus. Instead of just reading them, start asking yourself questions. Why did they use these words? How would I describe this? Let's say you see a poster that says, "Special offer, buy one, get one free." You could think, how would I tell a friend about this offer in English? Or if you see a grocery ad, try to rephrase it in your mind like, "They're selling fresh fruits for cheap prices today." By becoming this detective, you're training your mind to naturally pick up and play with English in real time, making it a part of how you see the world every day. Here's a powerful way to turn your thoughts into English. Start with a question and answer it as if you're explaining it to someone. For instance, in your head, ask yourself simple questions like, what am I doing right now? Then answer, I'm cooking breakfast. Or ask, why do I like this song? And reply, because it has an amazing rhythm. It's like you're interviewing yourself, making English the natural language for self-reflection. The key here is to keep it casual, as if you're talking to a friend. This habit builds confidence, and the more you practice, the easier it'll be to answer questions on the spot, whether you're in conversation or thinking alone. One of the biggest barriers to thinking in English is fear of making mistakes. But here's the trick. Treat each mistake as a learning moment. Imagine you're talking to yourself in English and you get a word wrong. Instead of feeling bad, pause and think, what's another way I could say that? This process helps you learn without stress. Let's say you're describing your day, and you say in your mind, I did a mistake. Then, catch yourself and think, oh, I mean made a mistake. This gentle correction makes it easy to remember, and slowly your brain starts catching on to what feels right. By embracing mistakes, you let go of perfection and focus on progress, which is what truly matters. Imagine each day has its own theme or word of the day in English, something you'll keep in mind all day long. Let's say Monday is Gratitude Day. Throughout Monday, you can think, what am I grateful for? And practice forming sentences like, I'm grateful for my family, or I'm thankful for this sunny day. On Tuesday, maybe your theme is adventure. This day, think of ways to make your day sound adventurous, like, today I'm going to try a new dish, or I'll take a different route home. These daily themes make English a fun, flexible part of your routine and keep your thoughts fresh. By the end of the week, you'll have practiced 7 different areas of vocabulary, and it won't even feel like studying. Here's a creative approach. Let's work on visualization to bring English words to life. Imagine you're about to go on a trip to your favorite place. Picture it in detail. The sights, sounds, even the smells. Now describe it in English. Think, I'm walking on the beach and the sand feels warm under my feet. Or, the sun is setting and the sky is turning pink and purple. Visualization makes vocabulary feel personal and memorable. You're not just memorizing words, you're connecting them to an experience. Try this with places you love, people you admire, or dreams you have, and you'll find yourself recalling the words more naturally next time. Here's another fun one. Practice pretend conversations, where you talk to yourself in different moods. Imagine a happy mood and say something like, today was fantastic, or practice a calm tone. I'm feeling peaceful right now. Then, try it in a disappointed tone. I thought today would be different. Switching moods helps you experiment with expression and adds emotional depth to your English. You're not just speaking the words, you're feeling them. This makes English feel more like your own language, one that you can shape based on how you feel at any moment. Thinking in English becomes even easier when you set small goals. Each day, give yourself one English goal. It could be as simple as, today I'll try to think of 10 sentences in English. Or, I'll describe my lunch in as much detail as possible. These goals help keep you focused, and they don't have to be big. Even small achievements build confidence, and you'll start to see English as something you're actively working towards. Plus, by having daily goals, you'll feel a sense of progress every single day, making you excited to continue your journey. When thinking in English, it's good to get comfortable with different tenses. For example, If you're making coffee in the present, you might think, I'm making coffee. But then practice adding a past thought like, I made coffee yesterday too, and a future thought, tomorrow, I'll make coffee again. This habit helps you get comfortable with time-related vocabulary, so you're naturally practicing grammar as you think. With enough practice, switching tenses will become second nature, and you'll find it easy to speak or think in English in any situation. Let's create a mental picture dictionary, where instead of translating words, you associate them with images. For example, when you think of the word apple, don't think of it in your native language first. Picture the apple itself, its red color, smooth texture, and taste. Do this with everyday objects like car, flower, or cloud. By using images instead of translations, you're training your brain to think directly in English. Over time, this practice strengthens your vocabulary so each word you know feels more vivid and real in your mind. Another advanced technique is to create short, imaginary stories in English. For instance, imagine you're planning a day out with friends. Think through every detail in English, like, we'll meet at the park, then go for lunch, and maybe catch a movie afterward. Visualize each scene as if you're watching it unfold and narrate what's happening. This helps you create flowing thoughts in English, and since it's a story you invented, there's no pressure. You're simply practicing how to form sentences smoothly and learning how to describe events with detail. Finally, let's talk about being mindful in English. When you're doing something simple like washing dishes or walking, try to stay present and describe what you're experiencing in English. Notice things around you and think, the water feels warm, or I hear birds chirping. This kind of mindful thinking trains your mind to stay present in English, creating a strong habit of awareness. The more you do this, the more naturally English becomes part of your inner world, as you're linking your thoughts directly to what you're doing in real time. All right, let's dive into the final level of mastering how to think in English. This time, we're going to create an English journal in your mind. Imagine you're writing down your day, but mentally. At the end of each day, think about what you did, where you went, who you met. Describe it in English. For example, you could start by thinking, today was a busy day. I woke up early, had a quick breakfast, and went to work. I met my friend at lunch, and we talked about, and just let your mind flow from there. By journaling like this, you're naturally practicing sentences, building your vocabulary, and learning to tell your own story. This habit will not only help you think in English, but also deepen your ability to express yourself naturally. Another powerful technique is to have imaginary conversations with someone you look up to. It could be a teacher, a friend, or even someone famous. Imagine you're telling them about your day or asking for advice in English. Picture this. You're on a walk, and in your mind, you start a conversation with your favorite person. You could say, "Hey, guess what happened today?" And then narrate your day, asking them questions along the way like, "What would you do in my place?" This practice isn't just fun. It's highly effective because it makes English feel more engaging. You're not just thinking alone, you're practicing conversational English with a listener right in your mind. Now let's take your thoughts to an emotional level. This is one of the most authentic ways to think in English because it connects language with real feelings. Try expressing your emotions in English whenever you feel something strongly. If you're happy, think, I'm feeling really good today because... Or, if you're a bit down, you might think, I feel a little disappointed because... This way, English isn't just a language for describing actions. It's how you express what's happening inside. This habit deepens your comfort with English as it connects to your real experiences. And when English becomes the language of your emotions, it naturally becomes the language of your thoughts. Here's a great technique: prediction thoughts. Imagine what's about to happen and describe it in English. For example, before you go to a meeting, you might think, "I think the meeting will be about our new project." Or, "I hope the manager is in a good mood." This trains your brain to think in English ahead of time, preparing you for situations even before they happen. Prediction thoughts make English more spontaneous. You're no longer just translating words, but imagining future moments. By practicing this, English becomes the natural language for planning and anticipating, making it part of your daily mindset. Have you ever had a conversation and thought later, "I should have said this instead"? This reflection habit is incredibly powerful for thinking in English. After you have a conversation, think back and imagine how it would go in English. Picture yourself saying things differently. "Instead of saying this, I could have said..." Reflecting on past conversations helps you find better ways to express yourself, and it's a fantastic tool for learning new phrases. Every time you do this, you're training your mind to replay everyday situations in English, helping you think of more natural responses the next time. Imagine you have an English mentor who speaks only in English and is always with you, helping you out. This could be a voice in your mind that guides you through tasks, like saying, "Okay, let's finish this project," or "Don't forget to practice new words today." Whenever you need encouragement or advice, let this mentor guide you in English. This inner voice becomes a supportive part of your thoughts, one that constantly encourages you to improve, celebrate your small wins, and stay on track with your English journey. With this voice, you're not alone on this path. Your mentor is right there with you. Here's a really fun and powerful trick. Try thinking in English right before you fall asleep. As you close your eyes, describe your day, imagine tomorrow, or even create a small story in your mind. Picture it in English as if it's a movie. Over time, your mind may even start to dream in English. When this happens, English is no longer something you're learning. It's becoming a true part of you. Thinking in English before you sleep relaxes you and helps the language sink into your subconscious, giving you a natural boost the next morning. Another creative method: imagine you're in an English-speaking country while doing your daily activities. Let's say you're at the grocery store. Pretend you're shopping in London or New York. Think, "I need to find fresh vegetables," or "What's the price of this?" By changing the environment in your mind, you trick your brain into thinking you're in an English-speaking place, which helps your thoughts flow in English. This technique works especially well because it creates a real-life feeling, where English is the language you need to use to get around. This one is a game changer. Start thinking of what-if scenarios in English. For instance, what if I could visit any country tomorrow? Or, what if I had a chance to meet my favorite author? These questions make you curious, which is one of the best ways to learn a language. With each "what if" question, imagine yourself in that situation and describe it in English. The possibilities are endless, and it keeps your mind actively engaged. Plus, you'll expand your vocabulary and thinking skills with each scenario, all while having fun with English. To keep English fresh in your mind, give yourself a new challenge every day. For instance, one day, challenge yourself to think in English for 5 minutes straight without switching to another language. Another day, try describing your surroundings in as much detail as possible. These challenges are like mini exercises for your brain, making English feel dynamic. Plus, they give you small wins, which build up your confidence and keep you motivated. With each challenge, you're stepping closer to fluency, and it's fun to see how much you can improve by pushing your limits just a bit each day. Finally, let's end with something powerful: gratitude thoughts. Each night, think of 3 things you're grateful for and express them in English. It could be as simple as, "I'm grateful for my family," or "I'm thankful for a peaceful day." Practicing gratitude in English not only fills you with positive energy, but also helps you end each day with calm, confident thoughts. Gratitude thoughts are powerful because they connect English with real, meaningful experiences. They help you wind down in a positive frame of mind, so each day ends with English as a natural part of your life. So, here we are, at the end of this journey of learning to think in English. From creating an English journal in your mind to ending the day with gratitude thoughts, each of these techniques helps make English your own. Remember, thinking in English is about more than language. It's about connecting English to who you are and how you see the world. I hope this series has been helpful for you. If you follow these techniques, I promise you'll find English becoming as natural as your native language. Thanks so much for watching, and if you found these tips useful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Keep practicing, stay curious, and let English be your constant companion. I'll see you in more videos soon, where we'll keep this journey going together.